What's up, folks? It's July 13th. It's a Sunday. Brought my incense. I forgot it yesterday when I did the video. I always light one because Alea liked incense a lot. So, I don't know what kind this is. It smells good though. Got my White Claw today. Watermelon. So today I went to see my little brother. I was in the Big Brother program, and I was in the program. I actually am not in the program anymore, but I still see Cam. His name's Cam. I still see him. He's about 12, 13 years old, going into the 7th grade. The reason why I'm not in the program anymore is because they would call periodically to ask how things are going, which is fine, but they also want to know about like his home life and family life, and I didn't see a reason to disclose that information to him. So when I told them I didn't want to talk about that, they basically said just because of liability reasons that if I choose that path, I couldn't be in the program anymore. I'm like, well, okay, that's fine with me. So, but I don't know. I think it's a good program, but I almost felt like I was spying on Cam or something, or his family, and I just didn't really want to be a part of that. So, but he's doing good. I took him to the fireworks show in Canton last weekend, and we did the little carnival that came to town. So I try to see him twice a month. When I first signed up for the program, I think at some level I was probably trying to replace Alea with another kid. But there's no replacing your kid. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'm trying to get this phone here. There we go. Yeah, so after you lose a kid, it's just like this big chunk of your body just gets ripped out of it. And I think, Kelly and I were actually looking at the foster care program. And we started going down that rabbit hole, and they kind of inspect your house and blah 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 blah, and I get it because there's probably some bad people out there, but after having a daughter for 16 years, I just didn't feel that I wanted that oversight, so we kind of yanked ourselves out of that path, and so that's when I did the Big Brother program. It's really humid here today. We've been getting some rain, and not enough to cool it off, just enough to make it frickin' humid as hell. So, Cam and I went to see the Superman movie today. It wasn't that great. So, if you have an urge to see it, I don't know. It didn't remind me of the older Superman movies. One with Christopher Reeves, I think. Obviously, that's from the 70s. That's always gonna be a classic. I grew up when I was a young kid. I went to see that movie. And then there was one, probably 20 years ago. I remember it taking some place on a boat or something, and it was pretty dark, but it was really good, I thought. And this one was just kind of, I don't know. it was action packed, but it just wasn't super great. So I'd say maybe look at a different movie if you're thinking about it. I wanted to see that Formula One movie, but they wasn't playing at the little theater in Waynesville, so. I was thinking about Kelly today. The day that she passed, Cam and I had gone out. It was on. We usually go out on Sundays, so the day that she passed, Cam and I had gone out, and then after I took him home, I came to the grave, did my daily ritual, and then I went to the grocery store to get some groceries. And then when I came home, she wasn't walking around, so I kind of peeked in the bedroom and I saw her lying down on the bed, and I put the groceries up, but I was kind of making a little bit of noise because I wanted her to come in and help put them up like she usually did. So I was kind of making some rattling noises and stuff, and so after I was done putting the groceries away, I kind of knew something was going on because she hadn't come in, and she was a pretty light sleeper. So I went back in the bedroom, and it's pretty dark in the bedroom because we put some new drapes up, but I didn't see her chest move, and so I got closer, and then like one of her eyes was like kind of halfway open, and then I felt her, I think either her hand or her forehead, and she was cold. So yeah, so Sundays kind of trigger me just because I wonder if I would have rewind the clock, if I hadn't gone to see Cam that day, if I would have been home, maybe I could have, obviously something happened and she hadn't been feeling good or something. That's why she went and laid down. She felt good earlier that day, but she was talking about doing stuff around the house, and I could tell she had done some things. She actually started making a meal, but the noodles were in the water on the stovetop, but the oven or the stovetop was shut off. And then there was like chicken packages, the individually wrapped ones. They were on the counter, and I know she normally wouldn't do that or leave them there because the cats would get into them and rip them up. So I kind of knew something was up. She went quick. I mean, she went, I don't know. I don't know. The medical report said that she had like a heart attack, but I think it was either like a heart attack or maybe a brain aneurysm or something that took her out quick. So anyway, Sundays kind of suck, and Sunday was the day that Aaliyah took her life too. So Sundays are pretty rough days for me. A lot of times at the grave, I just sit here and I don't talk. I'm just quiet, and I just hold that space like I talked about earlier, where I go and see him. And I just kind of sit here. I'm a pretty introverted guy anyway, so I find it challenging and difficult to talk about stuff. But I was thinking maybe these videos might help me kind of put words to what I'm feeling. because I'm not seeing a therapist or anything. I'm like, what the hell is a therapist going to be able to do? Help me in this kind of situation? It's just, I think, I think unless you've lived through losing a kid or a spouse, or both in my case, I don't think most therapists can really truly relate to that world that I live in. So it's kind of like before we had kids, other people had kids, and they never wanted our advice about how to raise their kids because we didn't have kids. So it's kind of like that, where unless I'm okay with talking to somebody that lost a kid or a spouse, but if I find a therapist that lost a kid or a spouse, I think I'd be more open to talking. But I probably should see a therapist. Fucking cigarette went out. Somebody stole something, but then they left 3 of these. They stole like a rose quartz heart that somebody gave me. And maybe I shouldn't. They said that they stole that and left these, but it was pretty much the same day I noticed these. There's 3 of them for some reason, and little wings. So obviously it's somebody that knew Kelly and Alea, but I don't know where the little rose thing went. I looked all over the place, and it's not here. So whoever you are, if you took it, I just want it back. Somebody gave it to me after Kelly passed. So I put my cigarette butts out in a beer can. I don't know if you guys can hear the birds in the background. It's very peaceful here. Very quiet. I remember my mom, when I was in the 1970s, she would take me and my little brother to a cemetery for some reason, quite a few times. This was in Indianapolis, and there was a huge, like, pond. It wasn't a lake, but it was, it was a huge pond for sure. And there'd be ducks in there, and we'd always go feed the ducks. We'd go to the so Hostess used to make the ding dongs and the bread and all that in Indianapolis, and so we'd go to the thrift store and pick up like day old bread or whatever, and we'd take that to the ducks. And I just remember feeding the ducks, and I don't know, I kind of wish this cemetery had something like that too. That'd be cool. Not sure. I never did ask her why she took me to the grave. I don't know who she was seeing, or if she just wanted to just go, but I have a feeling there was somebody there that meant something to her. So it's kind of funny that I'm coming to a grave in my 50s when I used to do it quite often back in the 70s. So she's not with us anymore, so I can't ask her, what she was doing at that grave. I was adopted, and that was my adopted mom. So my dad Robert, and then my mom Carol raised me, and then my birth parents I met when I was 18. They had gotten married and had 3 other kids after they got rid of me. So I'm okay with adoption, because if my mom had an abortion, I wouldn't be here. And I wouldn't have had Alea in my life or Kelly in my life. So I lean towards not aborting kids, because they can still have a good life. I know that's a subject of controversy right now, but I still think when they're inside the women, I think they are kids. They're just not formed yet all the way. But, I mean, they're the soul and the spirit, like what we talked about yesterday. I mean, that's got to take place at some point, you know. Is it like upon conception or 6 months in? I don't know. I mean, how do you tell that? I don't think there's a machine that you can hook a person up to and say, oh, okay, this person has a soul now. I think it happens pretty much at the get-go, because the genetics are already there, you know. Things are just unfolding, and the little baby's growing inside, and so I don't know. I had a couple friends in college that got pregnant and they aborted their babies, and I don't know, I always had a problem with that. I know that the timing wasn't, quote, correct, but they could have had the child or the children and given them up for adoption like my mom did, and somebody would have been happy with those babies, because there's a lot of people waiting for babies right now, and it's expensive too, but people still want them, you know, because a lot of times you can't have your own kids, can't get pregnant, and so there's a lot of people out there that are looking for that little piece of love in their life that a child brings. So just think about that. I think about it quite a bit, actually, especially now that Alea's gone. But we wanted her. We were actually never going to have kids, and then one day I kind of woke up and said, "Oh, you know what? I want to have a baby girl." And so, as fate would have it, we had a baby girl. That was the most happy time of my life. Just amazing how 2 people can create a baby, you know, and that baby grows up and does things in the world. The creation of life just is such a beautiful, unbelievable thing. Nothing else compares to it. I mean, you know, you can go buy stuff at a grocery store or an electronic shop or whatever that's handmade or made by humans, but it's just magical how 2 people can get together and actually have a baby. That's a miracle to me. So, so anyways, I'm gonna get going here so the video doesn't get too long. Hope you guys enjoyed your Sunday, and peace out, yo. Yes, Queen, as Kelly would say. You guys take care.